Welcome to Step 2 of Label Alert Extra's How-To Spotlight on Transitioning to the New Nutrition Facts. I'm Christina Bechtold of Prime Label Consultants, and your guide to this month's installment on team, timeline, and training. Last month, we did an overview of the impact on the new nutrition rules on your products and a hypothetical case study. We saw that the proposed rules are expected to impact many brands' healthy identities, and that graphics changes will underscore this impact. In addition, companies will be more dependent on their suppliers than ever, and with new data sourcing tracking requirements in effect for added sugar and dietary fiber and folate. And so, depending upon a case-by-case review of your individual products, you may need to do more than relabel them and explore reformulating, repackaging, or removing them from store shelves. We talked briefly about the mountain of work to be done, and that early preparation and assembling the right team will be critical to navigating this transition in a manageable way. First, we recommend you train as widely across your enterprise as possible. This will give you a greater chance for success. Management support will be critical throughout, and early education on the potential impacts will promote a sense of urgency and drive that support, hopefully from the top. PLC recommends creating a few high-impact case studies of your top-selling products, which can convey the impact more viscerally than a laundry list of changes. We can help you create these case studies with our product identity report for flagship products. Then, we recommend you start training. You can certainly start by using these free Label Alert Extra videos and interspersing them with your case studies. Alternatively, PLC offers a full-day seminar at our May Food Labeling Conference on transition strategies. Or you might engage our Nutrition 2016 Jumpstart service, a comprehensive offering which includes a training, case studies, and facilitated Tiger Team sessions to produce an actionable transition plan. Now let's look at what parts of your enterprise are affected by this ruling, need training, and should be represented on your planning team. After regulatory, marketing is the most obvious component of your transition team. There are two areas that will concern them the most. At the most basic level, the new formats will drive graphics changes. In particular, the larger size might reduce the area available for ad copy or claims, and mandatory dual columns for certain packages will not only be bigger, but will highlight the larger numbers of calories and nutrients in a package. Next, marketing will be concerned about the downstream consequences to elements outside the panel. These include changes to claims, ad copy, and any front-of-pack nutrition keys. And for those small packages that qualify for the linear format, the current run-on sentence style is proposed to be replaced with a much larger and more structured format that may be difficult to fit on packages where space is at a premium. So what the marketing team needs to know is that while there are downstream graphics effects, changes within the NFP, possibly less room for ad copy, changes to other elements, and that they may need to rearrange elements, move the NFP from a side panel to the back, for example. Brand identities will also be impacted. For each product, they will need to ask, does the new NFP and changed claims contradict brand identity or product goals? What product action will need to be taken? Finally, marketing may need to revisit nutrition goals at the brand or product line level. We will get more in depth into these brand identity concerns next month in Step 3 of Label Alert Extra. R&D, on the other hand, will have a different set of questions. Once products are flagged by product marketing for reformulation, they will have to ask, how do we arbitrage the serving size rules to show our product in the best light? How do we make ingredient or processing trade-offs to hit our calorie target? Do we need to change out our sources of sweetener or fiber? How will we navigate sodium trade-offs with taste, shelf life, and other considerations? How do we deal with the new mandatory nutrients? Next, you can't put a new panel together without the data, and purchasing is going to have its hands full gathering a complete set. Some of the data can come from lab tests, but added sugar and fiber ingredients can only come from supplier specs. Also, you will need to store this data somewhere, and so IT will need to become involved. The FDA proposes mandated documentation going back 2 years. Finally, what will management focus on? First and foremost will be the impact to the brand. Second, they will want to get a sense of a project plan and the resources that will be needed to complete it. This should include a timeline, resource constraints, and supply chain interdependencies. Third, of course, they will want to see a budget and its components of labor, graphics, and printing costs, and IT infrastructure investments. Now that you've trained enterprise-wide, you will need to identify a SWAT team and get started. This chart lists some specific expertise that will give you the best chance of success. It will be critical that all members of the team are good team players and skilled at collaborating, because very soon, timing may not be on your side. And speaking of timing, it will be critical to understand how the final rule publication date, proposed for March, will affect your transition strategy. A caveat in the language of the proposed rule is that all new and refreshed printing projects will most likely need to bear the new NFP when introduced 60 days after the final rule is published, leading to very little flexibility after that date. PLC understands the logic to be that once you incur new printing costs with refreshed or new design, you must put the new NFP on the package. Overall, 2 years was proposed for companies to convert all labeling to the new format. But while this schedule has been typical of the FDA in the past, many comments have been submitted requesting more time, from 3 to 5 years. In fact, you can view these in the Find Out More section below. So we expect FDA to consider extending the deadline another year or so. This means there are ramifications to postponing new products or label refreshes until after publication of the rule. For products whose brand identity may take a negative hit because of the new regs, you might consider refreshing those products now, before the rule goes into effect. This will buy you 2 or 3 years of planning time before the new NFP needs to be on these packages. On the other hand, you may want to introduce the new panel on these products as early as possible for competitive advantage, to keep them current with a modern image, and highlight better calories or claims vis-a-vis your competition. Next, once the rule is published, you will want to phase your label transition carefully, taking several factors into account. You will need to customize a program plan and specific goals depending on the needs and resources of your own organization and supply chain. Finally, you will need to consider what data, printing, and labor constraints you have. For example, graphic artist resources or nutrition and label review specialists. So as you can see, many factors will play a major role in the phasing of your projects. If this seems overwhelming, Prime Label has management, marketing, and QA experts who will be happy to help you prioritize the phasing, minimizing the impact to your flagship products. The good news is that the government may very well give industry more than the 2 years proposed to make this transition. But we won't know until the final rule is published. If not by March, then we certainly expect it to be out by the end of the summer. So there is clearly a lot to consider, and assembling your team and training your enterprise is a critical step to this process. Over the next several months, we will highlight each of the next 5 steps in our Educate, Plan, Execute methodology. Next month, we will explore Step 3, Update Brand Strategy, where case studies and product line analyses can give you an essential insight into the impact of this regulation. Thank you for listening. We hope that this video has been useful. By all means, repurpose it in your organization and with your team, and explore some of the other services Prime Label has to offer to make navigating Nutrition 2016 as painless as possible. We look forward to continuing the conversation with you next month. Please read on and enjoy.